It's Friday, April 17, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Barbados has recorded a 13% drop in overall crime so far this year, and Deputy Commissioner of Police Erwin Boyce attributes much of this decline to the national COVID-19 curfew now in place to stop the spread of the contagious virus. In an interview with Barbados Today, the Deputy Commissioner revealed that at April 11 last year, the total number of reported crimes stood at 2,285 compared to 1,998 for the same period this year, which is a decline of 287. He said murders are down 50%, 10 so far this year compared to the 20 recorded for the corresponding period last year. The senior cop gave a breakdown of some of the figures.
Residential burglaries, we are down by 83, which is a 29% over last year. Mm-hmm. Commercial burglaries, we are down by 21%, which is 16 when we do the last year figure. This year figure is 61. That's commercial. The last year figure would have to be 77. So we are down 16.
The silence, two main teachers' unions say they are still waiting talks with the Ministry of Education on plans for the start of the new school term. In a national address last week, Prime Minister Mia Mottley disclosed that the Education Minister Santia Bradshaw was set to meet with principals and teachers to decide the way forward. While informed sources tell Barbados Today a meeting was held with the principals, the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union and the Barbados Union of Teachers say they have not yet held talks with the ministry on the matter.
As partners in a tripartite relationship in this country, I would have thought that the unions would have been involved right off at the beginning of any plans moving forward in relation to how we address the educational needs of students and the professional responsibilities of teachers, just like they have done in other Caribbean countries. The unions were involved first.
The Home Affairs Minister has apologized for 2 chaotic days of delays and long queues at post offices as thousands tried to redeem pension and benefit checks. But Minister EDMUND HINKSON has also showered praise on postal workers for what he termed their extraordinary efforts to serve those who turned up at the 16 post offices across the island on Wednesday and Thursday last week.
Prime Minister of Barbados had very wisely instructed that not only those pensions and welfare checks due last week were to be cashed in and paid to the recipients, but also those due during the 4th week of this month, so that people could have money in their hands at this difficult time from the NIS. This meant that postal workers additionally had to cash in 2 checks in cases where they would normally have only had to cash in 1 check. This had, of course, implication for the flow of funds being transferred to the various post offices and resulted in a delay in some instances. For this, I, as Home Affairs Minister, express regret at the long waiting time experienced by many of our senior citizens.
Vendors at the Cheapside Market resumed applying their trade yesterday on the new measures aimed at enforcing physical distancing to curb the spread of COVID-19. But while they are happy with the new setup, some are equally concerned that the now sprawling market could descend again into chaos, as seen last Saturday, unless police are present on the most popular shopping days.
The distancing with the trays and everything is okay, but we as vendors, when we selling, when it get a rush with people, we can't tell the customers well line up or whatever, because when some of the vendors don't tell the customers line up, some would accept them just in a crowd, so it can be actually the same mess to me.
And do you think there's anything at all that can be done in authorities, as we spoke about before, would have separated the stalls a bit more, but is there anything more that can be done, you think?
The only thing is if like police officer come down on like Friday and Saturday, a few police officers come down and make sure that there's a line that, and if they see a crowd, just tell the people to separate or whatever. I feel they would respect the law better, right?
I think the problem is when you close down shopping and you open back up, you're going to have issues. So I think that is the problem. It creates a bottleneck, so to speak. So if you close down shopping, then people run out of food, people start to panic, and people can come out in their numbers to purchase. And I think that what happened last Saturday is the fact that things were closed for a while, and then there was an opening back up. So you would get that sort of issue. But if you allow things to flow, things will smoothen out. Because if I know that I could come tomorrow and get what I want, or any other day for that matter, there's no need to rush. But if I don't know when, the uncertainty can trigger that panic.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, Belize Prime Minister Din Barrow assures the nation that his government is doing all in its power to manage the COVID-19 pandemic. In an address to the nation, the Prime Minister also assured that there was no need for residents to despair as the country remains on a 14-day national lockdown. He also promised that no one will be left behind and all residents will get the basics to survive as the country fights the contagious virus.
The unmistakable fact, though, is that we will manage, that we are managing this labor of Hercules. What we find for our people can by no means be a princely sum. We can't give food baskets that are overflowing to excess, but no one will be left behind, no one will have to do without. Everyone will get the basics, and all will be able to survive on what government will provide. With the $75 million borrowed from the Central Bank of Belize, we are able to help the unemployed for at least the next 7 months. Furthermore, the pace of disbursements will continue to accelerate as we straighten out the processing kinks. Of course, no one knows how long this grim COVID reaper will be with us. But the government, as the coverall for Belizeans, is in this for the long haul.
And finally, the United Nations has launched a report on the impact of COVID-19 on children. At the launch held on Thursday, Secretary General Antonio Guterres made an appeal to families everywhere and leaders at all levels to protect children as the virus spreads across the globe.
Thankfully, children have so far been largely spared from the most severe symptoms of the disease, but their lives are being totally upended. I appeal to families everywhere and leaders at all levels: protect our children. Almost all students are now out of school. Some schools are offering distance learning, but this is not available to all. Children in countries with slow and expensive internet services are severely disadvantaged. Second, food. A staggering 310 million school children, nearly half of the world's total, rely on school for a regular source of daily nutrition. With children out of school, their communities in lockdown and the global recession biting deeper, family stress levels are rising. Children are both victims and witnesses of domestic violence and abuse. With schools closed, an important early warning mechanism is missing. There is also a danger that girls will drop out of school, leading to an increase in teenage pregnancies. And we must not ignore the growing risks children are facing as they spend more time online.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.